a thing for me. Give me love, give me love, give me love. You see this little señorita, she would like to be much sweeter, so you'll have to work much harder than you are. Your Christmas gift is nothing to buy. What could you be thinking of? Give me love, give me love, give me love. La 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 yo 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 la 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 yo yo yo. La 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 yo 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 yo. Give me love, give me love, give me love. Look, paranderos coming, kids busting bamboo tree. Family that gone with selling Christmas got for we. Granny gone to shop in town, people buzzing all around. I hope I get your love sometime before the new year come. Cause the days are getting shorter, and at nights are feeling colder. All the gifts, the drinks, the trees, they can't do a thing for me. Give me love, give me love, give me love. La 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 yo 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 la 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 yo yo yo. La 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 yo 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 yo. Give me love, give me love, give me love. La 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 yo 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 la 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 yo yo yo. La 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 yo 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 yo. Give me love, give me love, give me love.
Ahí, señorita, happy now. El vano fixo, everything muy, muy bueno. You get good, good loving. Merry Christmas, señorita, and a bright and prosperous New Year.
La 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 yo 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 la 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 yo yo yo. La 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 yo 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 yo. Give me love, give me love, give me love. La 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 yo 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 la 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 yo yo yo. La 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 yo 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 yo. Give me love, give me love, give me love. La 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 yo 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 la 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 la. Darling, look, it's Christmas, a special time of year. Jungle your loving is all I want to share. I don't want your diamond ring, I don't need the fancy thing. The only thing I'm missing is my husband to love you. Cause the days are getting shorter, but the nights are feeling cold. All the gifts, the drink, the trees, they don't mean nothing to me. Give me love, give me love, give me love. La 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 yo 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 la 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 yo yo yo. La 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 yo 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 yo. Give me love, give me love, give me love.
Auntie Gladys and I SOS to all she family because of an incident that happened to she. Early Christmas morning, apparent she gets, and as long as she lives, she will not forget. Me pressure cooker, they gone with that. Me brand new freighter, they gone with that. A bottle of Johnny Walker, they gone with that. A bale of toilet paper, they gone with that. I love Farah, I Make us win, Papa.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. Only in Trinidad we can do it as we know it to be done. And yes, indeed, all the cultural expressions and the tapestry that is, of course, the melting pot called Trinidad and Tobago, a cosmopolitan array of course, cultures across the continents and regions of the world. Pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central, our friends in Tobago and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, enjoy the parang for a moment.
With nothing to eat, you know them fellas take keep on my toilet seat. I had to call the police for them to hold that tail. I hope they spend the whole Christmas in the trees. I can't see me wall clock, they gone with that. I bowl a curry duck, they gone with that. I want a sour soup, they gone with that. But wait, where me yard cock, they gone with that. I love parang, I love me parang, but I don't ever want to see that paranga. I love parang, I love me parang, but I don't want to see that teeth in paranga. Make us spin, Papa.
25 years, which determines how Forex is distributed.
Where it is expected that the banks would exercise responsibility, exercise equity, justice, and all that sort of thing in the distribution.
In the past few weeks, the business community has issued various statements on the issue of access to foreign exchange, and now Minister Imbert said he will be meeting with them to discuss the way forward.
So we are going to talk to the Chambers of Commerce, the TTMA, and various other interest groups and ask them whether they believe this honor system that has been in force for the last 25 years should change into a more regulated and a more structured thing, whereby the central bank would now have categories of distribution for foreign exchange, and I expect I'll be able to complete those discussions maybe by the end of this year.
Let me pause and start again. Because you see, it is not by accident I played, of course, that particular Christmas rendition, traditional in the context of Trinidad and Tobago, unique to our culture and our expectations and our activities around Christmas time. But I thought I should start there because remember, the song is about stealing even around Christmas time. I know that there was, of course, a standard cultural, while of course it may be fraught with danger, you can get locked up and so on. But there was, of course, a tradition that I grew up with, where if you look after your ham, that is boiling on a tree, cornerstone outside, in the open, in what is called a petrol tin, it's really a oil can. The cooking oil will come in those cans, and it will be used, of course, as a pot to, of course, boil large items such as a ham. But if you're not careful and you did not, of course, pay attention to that ham boiling, when you believe that the ham submerged under the boiling water would have been completed in terms of its texture, in terms of being ready for consumption, but when you push the fork into it, those two prong forks into it, you find it still hard and it boiling whole night. Well, it's because somebody passed, take out the ham and put in a big stone. Yes,
That was a traditional thing where I came from in Laverton and so on. But these days, why they don't cook ham outside again, but certainly there is the question of home invasion, so they want to take your whole house. Your whole house. And all that is in it I'm talking about. So no longer ham. And of course that will come around Christmas time. So people will macro or watch the ham intensely. And some people, if they have to go and sleep, they will have sentries. You know, sentries, guards, guarding the ham, watching it to make certain that it boils to perfection and that it is still there to, of course, share on Christmas morning, as the case may be, to have a Christmas meal or part of your Christmas meal. Yeah. Yes. So if you only shift, if you only appear to be, of course, unconcerned, a man will pass, take out your ham and put in a big stone, and you're boiling ham whole night, and you find that this ham ain't getting soft at all. Until you get fed up, and when you check, it's a big stone that you was boiling all the time. I just say that to of course, reinforce the point. And the dichotomy, the division between, of course, tradition and how dangerous it is today. While, of course, it would have been a joke in those days, today it's a serious matter. Home invasion. But I thought I would start with, of course, a very recent, as recent as today, Imsburg and this government, their ineptitude, their incompetence, their impotence, their total and absolute, what I consider to be, I love to use the word nincompoop, but I think today I will want to replace nincompoop with their, what I consider to be not just ignoramus, not just dotish, not just foolish, not just inane, not just they collectively and individually are in cognitive and intellectual decline. And in the face of all of that, they try to pretend that they are bright, that they are intelligent, they know what they are doing, when in fact, they are consumed with either neophytism, meaning that the Johnny-come-latelys, but want to pretend, because the PNM has a history, that they are the beneficiary and automatic or automatically superior to anybody else who have acquired government over the years and to acquire government in the future. Yeah, that is how they come across. And at the end of the day, their foolishness loom large as they continue, of course, to collapse on themselves by way of policies, programs, and the misappropriation of not only resources, but indeed the very policies and programs and initiatives that they prescribe according to them for the people, that always turns out to be a disaster. Why am I taking that position tonight? I am taking that position tonight because of what Imbert said this evening. He was commenting for the first time too long. Before that, of course, they will go silent, or they will send out, of course, tweaks and go on social media, on their Facebook page and so on, and talk a bunch of hogwash, as we saw with Rowley from, of course, the Chogam conference in the Pacific recently in Samoa. And we have already dismissed and destroyed that as blatant lies and attempt, of course, to try to make himself look as though he knows what he is saying and he knows what he is doing. And that, of course, the Jindal incident somehow is justified by him accommodating a man who he said is interested in the oil refinery, but there were 8 other persons who had already submitted, of course, their proposals, and the process had come to an end, and suddenly they just expanded, and then he is accommodating the person who the government prefer, and rather to, of course, get to the oil refinery. He's accommodating them in his office, and that nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And then, as if to demonstrate an inexplicable and a most profound exemplification of madness, verbal madness, yes, cacophonous babblings, he turned and say that since Jindal was part of a exercise organized by the Jindal University in India, and the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Secretariat was being given or being honored for her lifetime achievement. He sees that he Rowley is trying to sell to us that is an endorsement of Jindal, and that should wipe away any concerns that we have about the criminal investigation and the criminal matter before the courts that Jindal is subjected to. Come on. And of course we mash up that like chili baby. I say we mash it up like chili baby. Rowley lied. Never. There was no nexus. There was no connection between, of course, the Commonwealth exercise that was taking place in Samoa, and of course that exercise that he sent with pictures as well, a picture of the exercise, and we showed you that it has nothing to do. It's a square peg and round hole argument that he's trying to develop, that is typical of him, and making himself an ass. Making himself a complete and total ass. What other way to describe it, people? I don't care about the office. If the man in the office is most despicable, I ain't talking about the other matters with respect, of course, to his rape and pedophilism and predatorial sexual disposition. I ain't talking about that. The man himself lacks moral, he's morally depraved. He's ethically vacuous and must be seen in a democracy where a man like that is responsible for managing our affairs and controlling our money. We have to be angry. We have to be aggressive. And until they get the hell out of office, we must sustain our belligerence and our tenaciousness to make certain that every single move they make, knowing full well that it is always inimical to the interests of Trinidad and Tobago, and that there is always something sinister in the whole process, we need to, of course, share that with the national community and the world. Let them know the betrayal that is, of course, the Rowley administration by fellas like in cahoots with fellas or recruited elements such as Imsbert. Imsbert today is saying that they may have to review the Forex distribution having regard to the concerns of certain elements in the society. Another asinine statement. Another statement looking for sympathy. Another statement that is designed for ingratiation. We must feel sorry for he. Because he understand now. I say, hold your tail. You see, I could say that with a high degree of confidence and assurance, because from the beginning, just as how when they saw a superior and relevant and important measure that was taken by the UNC in terms of course, providing every child with a laptop, the other things will naturally follow. Rowley was making the asinine statement that these children are going to school and they're using the laptops. So gosh, Rowley, for pornography and for playing games. What a betrayal. What an abuse of the confidence reposed in a man who claimed that he was a corruption buster, that has displayed such an acute sense of incompetence. So yeah, what? So after several years in office, and whether you had COVID or not, the Kamala Prasad Bisesa initiative of laptops was always a good one. Because let us for a moment take away from the matrix, from the scenario, COVID. Let's say they didn't have COVID. But all of us know that the CXC authorities were saying, and of course indicating and promoting that a large section or a large portion of the exams will be done online. Will be done online. Rowley ought to know that, ought to have known that, and if he doesn't, it reinforces the fact that he ought not to be in office at all, because it means, therefore, he was not focused on the interests of Trinidad and Tobago and should have been a long time ago expunged from the political leadership in this country. CXC was saying that. So don't matter what the argument is, especially when it was advanced in the most despicable and the most puerile and the most infantile and the most, what I consider to be asinine excuse for taking away those laptops. You know, they had to come back now and give the same laptops. Give the same laptops. And even that, they have failed. Because they're talking about means test. Means test for who? The well-to-do will always provide for their children. But the vast majority of the country, and you cannot have a policy that is discriminatory, because at any rate, there are people who are well-to-do may well tell the school, no bother to give my child a laptop because they have so much already. That is a real possibility. But give everybody a laptop to, of course, eliminate the discriminatory component, and at the same time give people the option to say, well, look, it's just like the old age, what we call the old age pension or the senior citizen pension. There are hundreds of persons in this country who are qualified but do not take it. Why? Because they feel that they are well off, and therefore that is more in the kitty for others who are more in need. It's the same thing would have applied there. When when students were getting $100 grant, I was in the system, so I could tell you. And I taught at La Perita, which of course is one of the more upscale community that school was serving, the La Perita government primary school. And I also taught at the Piccadilly government, and I taught at the Mount Hope RC school. And there were parents who are fairly well off, middle class and so on, and they would tell you, don't bother with the $1,000. They ain't coming for it. The same thing here. But Rowley and they operates from the notion that people are going to abuse it, so take it away. That's how they operate. And don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Because Rowley will tell you from time to time, especially if there's a benefit for citizens, he will literally coin that notion. And the classic one, of course, is when it was viewed that people should stay home and work. Rowley say, stay home and work, not me. If they stay home and work, nothing will be done, etc., because he don't trust them. Because he sees in others that which is in him. No. And that is why the policies of this government are so punitive in nature. And even if they didn't want to, because they claim, of course, that they produce policies that are equitable and benefiting all and sundry. Nonsense you're talking. Because if you had a formidable welfare system, it should be that you have to trust your citizens, first and foremost, to do the right thing. But you must also have robust laws or regulations where they falter. That is to say, is a clear case of abuse, and therefore there should be mechanism to treat with that. But by and large, your policies must be one that exhibits trust that the population will do the right thing because they know the difference between right and wrong. One example I can bring to the table now is that, let's say someone who wants to go on some kind of service provided by the social welfare, maybe public assistance. I can't say, of course, senior citizen, because of course there's an age criteria. Once it meets that age, of course, whatever it is will be triggered. Whether you are in the national insurance, whether you are in the regular, of course, administered by the Ministry of Social Development, I'm talking about the senior citizen pension. So I can't use that. What I would use is a person who is seeking public assistance because they may have fallen hard time for one reason or another. A much more humane and realistic policy must be, people must come off the street and go into one of these offices and say, listen, I've fallen on hard times. I have 5 children to mine. This is the proof. Obviously, you will need some verification. You can't just say you have 5 children and full stop. You have to prove that. And once they prove it, such a system must be that they go onto the system one time and then you do your investigation, and if they prove to be scoundrels or if they prove to be dishonest, then you take them off with the appropriate penalty. But let's go straight to this call. I was awaiting this call tonight in order, of course, to highlight a particular issue. Pleasant good night, sir. Welcome to the Corridor Transformation tonight.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Lennox Smith.
Yes, good night,
and
sir.
thanks.
Yes, well,
yeah,
I just want to highlight with you because I was talking about social welfare policies and programs and so on, expecting, of course, your call so that you will give us a ball by ball not assessment, but experience that you would have had. And of course, you can start wherever you wish, because I think this is important so that other members of the society will be able to understand what they may be subjected to or what is possible, even though they may have not yet been subjected to such an experience that you would have had. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. The 25th October 2023, right? I had a problem with a bus driver.
Yes.
That's the bus driver who drives the 5 o'clock bus from Montrose to Port of Spain. Right?
Are you a senior citizen first and foremost? Are you a senior citizen?
Yeah, 60 now, yeah.
Right,
62.
good. So as a senior citizen, you'll be using the bus because that would have been, of course, free of charge, is it? Or you still have to pay?
Yeah, right, no ID card.
Go ahead, yes, go ahead.
Right, so I taken the bus now from Montrose.
Yes.
Right, by KFC, and I'm coming off Monroe Road. So I traveled down with him. And next morning I traveled down with him now. He didn't stop by the bus stop, but have a lady stop lower past the bus stop. He stopped down there.
Yes.
He passed the stop to pick up the lady. So when I tell him about it, he get vexed. All right. Now I leaving home at 3:30 in the morning to reach. I reach in by KFC around 4:20 to catch the 5 o'clock bus. Everybody comes there and meet me.
Okay.
This morning the driver, that was the 25th, driver come. And I went in the bus. Right, so after telling him about the thing, he get vexed, right? And this is how it went. He right, so he the next morning when I go to travel down now, he told me he come and make a speech in front of the bus stop. He tell me everybody else meet me there. He tell me that he can't carry me, he have load to carry. Right? Because when I tell him of the morning about how come he shop down, he tell me you're giving me a blind by dropping me off at Monroe Road. So I went straight down into PCSC and I make a report. They tell me I have to make the report in communications. I asked who in charge of communication, they tell me a woman called Patrina Mahabir. Right, so somebody point out to me. I asked her, I said, ma'am, do you guys take these reports serious? And then she said, yes. Right? I made a report. So the next morning when I went back for the bus now by Montrose, the driver come and make a next speech, telling everybody that this gentleman here just reported me yesterday. I don't have a problem with that. But when I reach in the bus now, and he hear what he tell me, he say that the first drop-off stop is Montauk. No, that is victimizing me because he's stopping up now. When we leave Montrose going up, he picking people up going all the way up, all you have people, so you making stops, you stopping to pick up people. So I coming off, and right coming up by Monroe, about 4 people coming on. You tell me I can't get off there. Your first drop off spot. So I went back down into the office now, and I make a complaint. That was the 26th. And up until this day, I ain't get no response from them. So I keep going to the office. And when Pachina see me, she's thinking this kind of funny face. She kept my report on her desk for 6 months. And then said I have to go by mistake. You in charge, so you know you don't take this report. Maybe it had to come true, but you was to go mistake. And 6 months after, 6 months done passed by mistake, and nobody contact me. Nobody take it up. Nobody follow it up. I keep going to our security. Plain he was helping me, one in charge of security, but they standing up for wrong that the co-workers doing. You know what I mean? And until this day, I can't even get a redress. I went to try to say that about ex-army man in charge that is on Frederick Street side, but they can't even get to see him. So you ain't going to see these people because they're behind security. Patricia Mahabir, State, I never even meet my state. I don't know things. So all that just gone, that's squash. You have nobody that you could go and make reports to. You have nobody taking reports.
All right.
You know, so that is my situation. I got like a great handle, because people have to know what's going on, especially in PTSC. Right. Around that same time now, this is Shogunas. People who listening might hear me. There's a post on the Shogunas bus stop that it's on a almost on a 45 degree.
Okay.
No bolts holding the pole on top, 2 bolts holding the bottom. So I went into the same security who played, he helped me, send me around in the back, I go and I make a report. And that post, just like that, since before the 25th of October 2023. And it's still so they ain't fix nothing. So they ain't doing nothing.
Up to today,
They just collect.
from your information, up to today?
Up to today, because I was by the bus stop I was by the bus stop yesterday morning.
All right.
Right? Now, it's about 6 months ago, I take the picture and I take the picture of it and kite and show them, you know.
Yes.
Kite and show them. They take the picture and they never do that. But my main concern is how the driver and his attitude, because that is victimization.
Yes.
That is victimized. I live in other countries.
So what you have experienced is that when you would have made the complaint, the driver decides not to stop where you would want to stop, which is a regular stop. Is that the
it's a bus stop.
Yeah,
but it have a woman stand up and pass the bus stop.
Right.
And he pass the bus stop to go to stop for the woman when she can walk to the bus stop. Or
she ought to be at the bus stop, because that is the rule. The bus is to stop at a bus stop, not
a bus stop.
A place
right.
designated outside of the bus stop. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So when I ring the bell, he didn't stop at the stop. He passed the stop and go up the road. So I said, when I tell him about that's what happened, Bex. That's what happened doing. But you can't be victimizing the people like that. And the stupid set of people on the bus, the way they getting on, and they don't even understand, they don't even see, they're not even seeing. You know what I mean?
No, well, I want to thank you for standing up on principle, because that's a principle position. And and you are a senior citizen, makes it even more what I consider be disconcerting and concerning. And that you are prepared, of course, to go the distance, for want of a better term, in order to get redress, but not for yourself, because that post is loose.
Other people too,
post that is loose certainly is an danger to other commuters and persons who will be traveling and waiting for a bus. And at the same time, what you have done is to benefit others, because it means, therefore, if you are successful, which I suspect you will after tonight, it means, therefore, that the authorities will now be looking more carefully at the dangers and the attitude of their employees. But let me ask you something. What are you looking for coming out of this? What you want to see?
And in my second complaint, I just asked that the driver to desist from that attitude.
Simple as
because
that.
you can't tell me about you giving me a blight.
Right. That is your entitlement.
You working for me. Yeah. That's my entitlement. Now I live in other countries, so I know when I see these stupidness, I just get me angry.
Right. And if you don't mind, how old are you? How old are you, if you want to tell us?
62, independent child.
Okay, right, beautiful. Yes. So
thank you.
Any additional things you want to tell the population as to, you may have on your mind, because this is an opportunity to talk to not only a local, but not only regional, but an international audience. Could you tell us if you have anything else on your mind? You want to caution elderly and so on?
One thing I have on my mind, that thing in burden.
Yeah.
I would like when Kamala Prasad Bisesa get into power, she don't let nobody escape.
Okay.
No one. Because now, while I was growing up, was Privat and Wallaran. I saw the building down Toronto, which he built a high-rise building like what they have down here in Trinidad. Right. Was the apartment building, and that was our racing complex money. Right. Eric Williams didn't lock up nobody during his era, and we see it going on again. And generations down the road, the same thing will continue if they do not do like Singapore and set up with people in jail.
Beautiful. Thanks very much for that advice. I'm sure that the policymakers to be and those who are there, I'm sure that they are seeing blue lights and silver bracelets awaiting them because of what they have done.
You always saying that Lennox, but what I wanted to do is press it to make sure that they don't leave a stone unturned.
Yes, to make it happen.
Somebody have to feel it. Otherwise, the same thing will go on for the next 50 years.
Yes, man. All right. So thanks very much, of course, for that intervention. And we will be in contact from time to time. All right, on this and other matters.
Lennox.
All right. Thanks very much for your intervention. He might have wanted to say something more, but I cut him off inadvertently, I thought that he was finished. So, if you wanted to say something that you may have omitted to tell us, please call back and I will certainly accommodate. But you understand why I started there now. Because here it is, we have officials of government whose job it is to serve the people. The government itself is what I consider to be an instrument, a mechanism, an institution, the ultimate to serve the people. The money in our central bank does not belong to Rowley and Imbert, and they act as though it is theirs to be frittered away in their whim and fancy among their friends, their acquaintances, and those who they prefer and rather, including, of course, financiers, some of which we know, others we don't. But obviously, the amount of money that we are talking about, clearly, Trinidad and Tobago ought to be in a better place. And so, of course, that particular statement by Imbert, I already, of course, made the analogy or the reference to the laptops and how stupid that decision was and inimical to the interests of Trinidad and Tobago, because eventually the computer literacy, or put another way, information technology and the devices that accommodate, so whether it be apps, or whether it be programs, or whether it be software, whether it be hardware, is inevitable. We cannot move forward as a nation without that. Let's not waste time. And as I said, the children today, just today, one student asked me that they have, of course, one of their pre-exam, their pre-physical exam assignment. And he asked, of course, he said they gave him, of course, to identify a calypso relating to cricket, or a song relating to cricket, or a cricket song. And then, of course, he has to get, of course, the lyrics of it as well. And then he has to get, of course, the video relating to that particular song as part of his, or contributing to his final marks in the particular area of study that he has chosen. But what is relevant in that particular example that I'm giving you now is when he told me that, listen, he has to go on one of the platforms and submit it for examination purposes, for marking purposes. And he dare not write it out without making the appropriate reference. In other words, he has to provide the link where he got the information, so that the invigilators or the markers of his paper, or should I say of his exam, I wouldn't say paper, but his exam, because it is electronic, of his exam, would be able to verify the song instantaneously. So you understand the symbiotic relationship now and where education is going. And if it was for Rowley and they alone, students like these would be left behind. As we are seeing, of course, since Rowley came into office, how badly students from Trinidad have been doing at every level, whether it is the domestic level as far as C is concerned, as far as CXC is concerned, access to university is concerned. Because they have reduced not only the scholarships across the board, but also, of course, funding for even our own university, the University of Trinidad and Tobago. That is how bad it is. Understand how dangerous the Rowley administration has been to Trinidad and Tobago. And let me tell you this. Before Rowley came into office and when he was tackling money, he was all in praise. And he was mono-centered on the Trinidad and Tobago University or the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Why? Because he was claiming then that it is indigenous. It is our creation. Something, of course, like the University of St. George's, Grenada, even though, of course, they have a plethora of foreign lecturers and so on. Nothing different to here in Trinidad, but it's ours. University of Guyana. Separated apart, of course, from the University of the West Indies. Why that was so and is so? Because there were persons who were wanting, of course, to access tertiary education, but the University of the West Indies has been so saturated with applications that there was a need by as far as the Guyanese government is concerned, and other countries of the region, to have more of their citizens acquire tertiary education. So they set about, of course, establishing universities or university type or tertiary type institutions in whatever field. That's the reason. And I remember very distinctly when Dr. Rowley was saying, when, of course, Kamla Prasad Bisesa had made the move to expand the law fraternity, or the law faculty, I should say, to debate, of course, connected to the University of the West Indies. And Rowley was saying in Diego Martin, in a Diego Martin meeting, I want you to listen carefully, to emphasize, let me just give you the conclusion. What the objective is, to emphasize how dangerous this man is. So he was saying that here it is, in response to Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC expansion of the faculty of law to debate, and of course the argument was justifiable. If there are people in Deep South, etc., who would like to go to university, who would like to acquire university education, but they can be qualified as what? But the cost and the time consumed to move from Deep South to the University of the West Indies at St. Augustine was so prohibitive, was so inconvenient, that there was a need, of course, to bring the university closer to home. And therefore, you wouldn't have things like dormitory fees and costs to accommodate, quite apart from spending long hours on the road to and from the university, or having to find, of course, accommodation close to the university in order for students to remain closer to the educational facility so that they could, of course, make optimum use of their education at the university. So the argument was clear. But Rowley at the time in Diego Martin was telling the population that Kamla and they were disingenuous, they were unpatriotic. They supposed, of course, to extend that to the University of Trinidad and Tobago Trinidad and Tobago University. That's what Rowley was saying. I said Rowley was saying no to that. He was saying that is a regional institution, and of course, Kamla, they should be more focused, and therefore that debate faculty ought not to be, and that it should have been, of course, at Trinidad and Tobago University, maybe faculty down in debate. And to me, at the time, that sounded like a solid argument. But of course, I would argue that why not both? Why not both? But today, not only have they reduced the allocation for for the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Not only that, not only have they closed down certain faculties that may be relevant, but of course may have, let's say, a paltry amount of students attracted to that particular course of learning, and therefore they close it down. Close it down. I remember, of course, the president of the University of Trinidad and Tobago, the very man who he says that he respects, are talking about, of course, Malcolm Jones' friend. Malcolm Jones' friend, Professor, who was head of the Trinidad and Tobago University, first head of it, was it Gordon? Not Ken Gordon, but the fellow that Rowley said that did human service for Trinidad and Tobago, and of course I think the UNC took him to court with respect, of course, to the bamboo investment, something not as impacting but similar in terms of waste of Trinidad and Tobago's money. So yes, so Rowley was a pro Trinidad and Tobago University, but when he comes into government, he then of course reduces the cost, reduces the amount of lecturers, and emasculate the university to the point where hardly anybody hears about it these days, that university, because he developed, of course, a means test, and of course a means test meaning that you could only get in, you could be bright as what, but if you have a means test that you're not qualified for, you could lose your opportunity to advance yourself. That is how it was. And of course, you can't do 2 and 3 courses at the same time. All of that was a comprehensive emasculation, and therefore stymieing of the, let's say, the creativity and the intellectual, what I consider to be abilities of individuals. If I want to do two degrees, why not? But we only say no, one at a time. No, but of course, before people would do 2 and 3 courses at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. But that is not the point I am really want to get at. Point I want to make is this: that Rowley was saying that the University of Trinidad and Tobago is indigenous and must be, of course, given every opportunity to blossom. His actions tells us something totally different. It's contrary to that. But I'm going to show you how hypocritical he is, and how nasty-minded he is, and how, of course, untrustworthy that man is. Quite apart from the fact that he told us that he will not interfere with property tax, that he will not, of course, pursue, of course, subsidy that effectively, of course, rose the price of fuel in this country, energy, and therefore the price of every other damn thing in the country. But apart from the fact that he told us he wasn't closed down Petrotrain, but he closed down because, of course, his name was being called in the investigation as far as the fake oil is concerned, and therefore the rest of us must be sacrificed for him to, of course, remain where he is as some kind of what I consider to be despotic totalitarian. I will continue, of course, with that after this call. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, Mr. Lennox Smith. Good night.
Good night to you, my dear.
I want to talk something different to what you're talking
No
here.
no problem, man. That is the purpose for your intervention. I will expect nothing different. Go ahead.
Listen now, people real worried today, They're only talking about this forex shortage.
Yes.
Who's studying how the port workers here in Port of Spain, the strike, all kind of things. People worried about the gas,
Mm-hmm.
They're studying the elections in the United States and Trump, how they will treat us here. with this gas, with the dragon gas and all kind of thing. Right?
These are troubling times.
Yeah, here now, I listened to a program this evening for a little while, and here now, people getting tense,
Of course.
They're studying the food shortages. I hear somebody say that the government will have to study what they're buying from what they're buying.
Yes.
But them things surprise me because I know a country without forex. Forex shortage is no country.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And then if you come and you get sanctioned on top of that, there's the next worries. We could end up in that position.
Yeah, you cook.
With if Trump win.
Yeah.
Now, if you notice, I wasn't talking about the U.S. election, right? The truth is, I understand it too much.
All right.
But I for Trump, right? I know talking that I for Trump.
All right.
Good. Trump is a serious man. This woman will wreck the whole place if she go in there. Right? So, what I'm saying is, I will tell people this with my experience with forex shortage living outside there next door. We will get food shortages and we will be rationed. They'll start a ration here. Right? You go to a grocery when the thing get real bad. If you think you could pick up a sack of rice, no, you will be able to get a little 3 packs of 1 kilo rice or 2. Depends on your family. All them things we could go through.
Caller, hold on.
Right?
I have another caller on the line. Hold on. Go ahead, Miss Sanderson.
Right? Then people will get so poor. Transport will go up with the gas. We will have shortage on the transport, the gas to transport people to and from.
Yes.
We could even get shortages with domestic gas. And I told you a long time, we will end up like Venezuela and Cuba, where we reach. These two countries they was living good. Cuba was living good until they get embargo and so on. If we get embargo on top of these shortages, we will have an economic crisis and all of that. And that is what went on next door. These people come here, and then it will be blows inside of here with these people living here. Right? It will lead to more crime, more crime. People will realize, look at them, makes sense even going in other countries to live. Because in those other countries it had, and places like St. Vincent and Grenada is like they're under communists. I just listen to the ground report and you're advertising and asking these people from these countries to call in and say something. Not one of them calling. Who you're getting is the Guyanese. Yeah? I noticed that. Only Guyana. What happened to Barbados, St. Vincent? They're listening on Gael, but they are afraid. You hear what it is I telling you all? You'll have to really investigate and find out. It's not easy in St. Vincent with that president it have there, You hear? Them Vinci and them in have employment and they just have to work hard. Some of them, they just do a lot of gardening and they just batter with next door to get cheap gas and all of that. So it will have suffering there, so we won't even want to go in these places. It will be the same thing because they're feeding off of us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
a lot. They feed off of us. Yeah. They don't have the mineral resources like us. So I always used to hear that people say when we reach into crisis and all of that, they can't help us. And where we will go? Where will we go? So people, we have to protest. We have to demand the help of the opposition. We have to help them by protesting. All who have yellow belly, come out. Come out. right? The shit hit the fan now. And this minister come out today to talk. I don't know what he say. I don't want to hear him. But he come out to powder puff and maybe, paint something
That's fair, that's fair.
in a
That's
bright
expected
color
that
to
it
fool
happen,
me.
Yeah.
I just can't bear the man Lennox. I don't like his face.
Yes.
I don't even like his haircut, nothing. I'm telling you, that is that I can't take on seeing that man and to hear him grin. Somebody call and let me give them a chance.
All right, okay. Thanks very much for your intervention, as per usual. Let me see if I can get it on the main system. Let me see. Going once, going twice. Let me see if I get it on the. Come on the system. Go on. I prefer the system. All right, I'll take him on the. I'll take him on the phone then. On my handset. All right, okay. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox, and all your listeners.
Yes, good night to you as well.
Share,
yes.
And to share to all
and
sundries and all medias.
Yes.
Mr. Lennox.
Hey.
I would like to raise your tolerance level a little bit.
No problem, man. I'll plenty of that.
Because I want to take over. I'm going to take over your show tonight.
Go ahead, man.
And we will have. I am announcing myself as a guest, a person in your studio.
A guest host.
Mr. Lennox.
I hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. You are hosting me tonight.
All right. Okay.
I'm interviewing, and I will interview you too.
Okay.
Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
Now, the University of Trinidad and Tobago was founded by, when he had plenty of money, and the guy name you're looking for is Ken Julian.
Ken Julian,
right?
That's the man. Ken Julian, that's right. That's the man. Thanks very much. Yes. Go ahead.
And Ken Julian, they say that he's called Emil Father, right?
Yes, Emil Father, yes.
And they say that
a man who only respects
money,
a lot. Yeah, equal him to the man who has put us in all kind of deep waters with our energy industry. You're talking about the late who? Let me hear that one. Who's that?
Which one?
Jones. Yes. What Jones?
Yeah, Malcolm Jones.
That's right, Malcolm Jones. Go ahead.
So when you check the knitted line, right? They are related as family together in the same cock pen, right?
Yes.
So because this cock and that cock breed that hen, and that hen and that cock line and make the egg.
Right.
So when the COVID came about, it ended up saving them the embarrassment of their fancy way of thieving out the state entities and closing it down.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you tonight, what about the E-Tech Park? How far we reach and what is the spin-off on the E-Tech Park in Waterfield?
But what's decided, I even had mentioned in the budget, didn't you? Because they were talking about some what do you call them? EPC, those zones where you could
the free zones with the free zones now move from where you as an importer, there's only certain people, conglomerates will
benefit
get
from certain
the license for point leases,
tax
where they do the so that now you will get the concession and you can bring it duty free. And who could get duty free and who could get exempt.
That's right. So
they had moved
you have some tax concessions there.
Yeah, so they moved. Then I want to know if they moved from Waterfield, because when they was opening the solar panels on them in Point Lisas and the strike, then they came back now at Paula Gopi School when the scanning machine for the scrap iron dealers, the $26 million spent, and they bring an invisible one so that they would know it's scanning the container to catch them. She had said, and then the big news, that only certain companies could qualify now. Because remember, the average Joe could have gone to the ministry and apply with a company name and bring in for use vehicles or certain things and do certain things temporary.
Yeah.
So they move it from that. So then you remember when they came in office, I don't know if it's the PNM, but I will ask you, you know that the Foreigners Car Dealers Association was given a quota per year for how much vehicles they will bring for the year. So when they give them that quota under India, right? They had said the name of the game was to regulate the foreign exchange drain. So that's why you're doing a reference to show from where when they started.
Yeah,
Right?
I hear you. Of course, we are factoring all what Mark and Dave Tanko said in terms of how lavish certain elements were able to access, and next thing they can't pay back or they can't contribute to the economy or augmenting the depleted stock that we now have as a result of that bad management. Yeah, go ahead.
So they were showing where it was depleted, and now they said the consumers with a credit card is draining it.
Yes.
So now I want to ask you now, I am the host and you are the guest. Do you know that Heritage Petroleum, the Petrotrade asset, with through lease and farm out, right, is shared up among certain companies who serve the master interests, right? When they sell their crude oil at a percentage to Heritage after lifting it out of the ground, right? What kind of money they get paid? Monopoly or the PNM or US dollars? Because if that's supposed to be going to Heritage and the state coffers, I just want people to understand that where the hemorrhaging is and where more US dollars is short in coming to this country treasury. Because after the closure of the money owner and NGC, right, and NGL, they had put all money into Trade One to see, and all those money, somebody had to change it in the US because you're seeing that the reserve and the liquidity in the system in this country, because all that kind of money and investment have $1 trillion for the last 9 years. We economy supposed to have enough liquidity that banks supposed to be given lower interest so that people can be robust. So I just want to show you before you exchange how they lie about it. And now you want to promote the property tax. But if the citizens of this country are intelligent and really want to protest, we would hold that property tax paid going forward, and then you will see the true economic power that the people have, and to see the reality of our economy. Because right now, the thing that is saving us is thanks to Touchstone and the gas well. So the Lennox, it was nice interviewing you tonight, but I would like to know where the check back on and the Point Lisas free zone. Have a nice night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friend. Welcome, and of course, anytime you can quiz me. And if I don't know, I simply will say I don't. I'm not like Rowley and Imbud and them pretending that they know. And at the end of the day, when confronted, they look like asses. And of course, without a tail, let me put it that way. So hold the tail. I think what the caller really has focused upon is frankly the uncanny ability, the weird ability, the tendency of this government, when it has acknowledged that it did nonsense, try to spread the responsibility to all and sundry. That is what this is all about, you know. Imbert coming there to talk about sitting down and talking with the Forex consumers and so on. It's really that, you know. He wants now to find a formula all the time. He was telling them they are doing fine. He was vitriolic. He was scoffing. He was dismissive of all the talk that there's a shortage of forex. Tell them that. Now that it has come to reality, he's looking now to ask Tom, Dick, and Harry, all of those, whether it's Ramsaran, whether it be, of course, those in the manufacturing sector. And he's talking now, you're going to hear him now, talking about micro business and small businesses get 80% of it. And that's only hogwash, you know. He can't prove it, you know. Because it's impossible that if it is you're talking about export-oriented people, which is your policy as far as the distribution of the forex and that would have been deposited over since COVID of something like 35 million a month coming forward, and now of course you have adjusted it to 25 million a month. Which small business? What are you talking about? They are complaining. They are saying that they can't get $50 in the normal bank. How them people could have access of course, Exim Bank facility when in fact it was designed for only export, and therefore foreign exchange earning companies were inbred. How come? How you can say that? Why are you people so damn dishonest and bold-faced with it and coming to people's faces and insulting our collective and individual intelligence? But I want to reach there yet. So I was making the point before, of course, the intervention of the various scholars on different issues, but clearly it was designed to also dovetail into what we are discussing here at this point. Let's go to the line. We're gonna get there in due course. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, good night.
Good night to you. Actually, good night to you.
Good night to you as well.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Mr. Rima for a sterling contribution there, man.
All right, great.
Mr. Rima, yeah, great contribution. But you know the chicken has come home to roost now, right?
The reason what?
I say you know the chicken has come home to roost.
Oh yes, of course, and that is what, and it's doing so with a rapidity that is unprecedented. Rapidity, yeah.
All right. You see why the refinery closed here? Now, you see why you're getting all this problem with forex, right?
You said what?
The refinery was the main. I say you see why we're getting problem with the forex.
Oh yes. That's
the main reason for the problem with the forex is the refinery.
Yes, sir.
That was the main forex will not Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. We should supposed to be bathing in forex if the values are wrong.
Let me repeat what I just said there. The refinery was the main forex earner. They used to sell just through it in US dollars. Right?
Yeah.
Bitumen. They had the bitumen plant. They used to sell that away. The own forex. And they some of the product. But when you ride it, it just come home to roost.
That's right. Yeah. I has no memory.
No. The Prime Minister wants to get Jindal. Because they want to open a refinery before the election next year. Desperation. Because that was the greatest mistake we ever made.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know his greatest mistake. He was closing up the refinery was the greatest mistake he ever made. Right?
Yes.
I will leave you with that.
Okay, thanks very much. Of course. And as he was speaking there, I recall, of course, a statement made by Donald Trump. And reminds me of what is happening with Rowley and Day right now. He was, of course, blaming Kamala and, of course, Biden for creating economic and, of course, what they are considering, of course, border destruction and mess and the migration of all kinds of people into the United States. And he made the point which I think sluggishly fits with what this particular caller just said. That they created the problem and then attempting, of course, to say that they can solve the problem. That's the point and the theme that I was referring to whole night so far. These people cannot solve the problems that they have created. Otherwise, it would not have been created in the first place. That's the point I am making. Let me repeat. You cannot allow Rowley and they give them a chance to fix something that they created. They created the foreign exchange debacle today. They have created, of course, the slowing and the destruction of the economy. They have, of course, closed down Petrotrin. Now they're fighting to open back the oil refinery. And cussing too when the opposition say, well, listen, the man who only find or who only prefer is a man who has charges and answering, of course, in the criminal justice system in India. You cannot have those kind of people in our affairs. Trinidad and Tobago has a different culture. You know, Rowley most annoyed them because he is saying that somehow they are unpatriotic and they're trying to not have the oil refinery reopened. But I thought he said that the government closed it down. And that was just one of several reasons. But they closed it down because they're going out of business. How come you want to get back in the business so bad? How come? Of course, that is quite apart from the 850 million US that they say was the bullet payment. Quite apart from saying that we were importing, of course, over 100,000 barrels. And of course, we were losing $7 to $15 on every barrel. And we can go on and on in terms of the multiple and variable and meandering excuses that Rowley would have made for one decision, which it turned out to be detrimental in terms of taking away the optimization of the amount of foreign exchange that could come into the country, because it was, of course, Imbert who told us that the oil refinery was a net earner of foreign exchange. Full stop. Full stop. Let's not waste time. And you want to be the one to solve that problem? You want to be the one to solve that problem? No, you do not qualify. You cannot be qualified. So to do, a pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
I had to call back in concerning this refinery that they want to open back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
His friend and them tell him to close it down.
Well, we want to
His
open it back
people
more.
advise him to close it down. And he decide, look, I'm closing it down. He come and tell you all kind of lies.
Yes.
It's from one to the next with the lies. He
Yes.
couldn't have a proper excuse.
Telling you?
And then the UNC assume is because of big corruption with he and AV oil, and to save one another face, they close it down. But they had a secret, and the man would have really bust the mark for the reason why they had to close it down. But they're doing all kind of contraband thing, getting, look, ay. Anyhow, right?
Yeah.
They close it down. No foreign exchange now. They didn't think before they opened their leg. You know that saying?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's
Eh?
it. I think somebody met the chagrin of the speaker when they made a statement like that. I think was that girl from
No. That is
Tableland.
something different. That is something different.
No, but she talked about opening the leg. She talked about opening the leg.
Yeah. No,
All right,
she
go
said,
ahead.
let her put the highway between the legs like the Princess Margaret woman.
How we had to do it? You had to muscle up your leg. Go ahead.
But it have, it has some people that, is a saying, she had think before she opens her leg.
Yeah.
But they didn't think now. So,
Yeah.
So the thing, I get a little distracted. Let me see if I could come back to what I wanted to see.
Yeah, you're talking
So,
about, yeah.
They
Oil
shut
refinery.
it down.
Yeah.
And now they want to open it back. You see, because they make a dread mistake.
Yeah.
following people, friend us carrier, but they don't bring you back, and telling we one of the big lies that they're going and restructure. Oh, it restructure.
Already restructured.
And they close it down to open this gas to liquid plant and throw all we money in that.
That boy, yeah, boy.
Yeah. And what's now, Lennox? Oh gosh, they're regretting it.
Yeah.
And you see, somebody tell me they fool Roger and them. They didn't really fool them, you know. Right? They really wanted to see if they could have bring it back up, Roger and them now.
Yeah.
But due to the involvement with this Ruperty man, and they wanted Roger to sign with Ruperty because they wanted a partnership, and all how you turn it, it leading to them people next door. Every time they bring people who are bidding for this thing, it have a link with next door. From day one, after they make their mistake with who tell them shut it down to open oil producing company. And them oil producing company, they partner with it, and they're not telling us who is the people. So if they're selling thing, right? When they sell, half the money, I believe, does go to us. Then when we get a little bit of dinero, right? They have to give it to the food manufacturers, and so money going so to them. All who buying goods on the outside, the big buyers, the rich ones like Massey stores, they have to get the foreign exchange. But all this thing they're selling, part had to go, you know, part of the dinero had to go to, you know, who they in company with.
That's right.
We can't take all for ourselves. So it's all over the place, the foreign exchange going. Didn't I tell you all the sharing, everything they're sharing, right? But some things they're taking all we money, as Wade Mark show you, and throw into the gas to liquid plant. Now I know the gas to liquid plant was their biggest dream. They get excited. Everybody get excited. With this gas to liquid plant with it stand up there for a while. And then them know they talk and they make the plan, and they decide, look, let's see to this dream they have a dream. And they decide, look, we're going to throw we money into that. And all kind of ghost thing you can see. One set of phantasma in Spanish. Don't forget the word, Lennox.
Yeah, phantasma.
Yes.
Yes.
All kind of phantasma. You turn it so phantasma. You turn it back so phantasma. You can't see a way. Something wrong. And about the migration in Latin America is mostly the Venezuelans, as you all know. People leaving from Nicaragua because it has real communist behavior in that country, right? But it's mostly the Venezuelans. They had to give up and leave. It's economic crisis because that man used to rob the patrimony of the people. This is why he get personal sanctions, and they had to sanction them up with the gas because they're thieving out the gas money and was laundering it in banks in Miami. He wanted in the United States for money laundering too. Not only the drugs, plus that was doing drugs before when he did now go in and had a little 3 years. The Mark boss, when they catch his wife, 2 nephews.
Yeah.
They was making jail. Yeah, that's how the story go. We mustn't forget that. It's because he was thieving the money and not putting it out for the people. And he have to bribe all his allies, not only friends and family, and then to keep himself safe. He have a lot of cronyism and nepotism. The man had to pay from the justice system to the electoral thing. The EBC, which is CNA, right? They had to lock down on all the private institutions. He hold down the army. He had the the police hold down and lock down, he controlling everything. And that is the way to protect themselves. What it is we see in here. So we trap.
Same attempt.
Same thing. So
Same
we
attempt,
trap the same blasted
But
thing
he-
he do his
but he
people.
cannot have
This
his
one
way.
doing his people it.
He will
Huh?
try,
But
but he
he
can't have his way.
small. He will try and he doing it. We're here now. What we should match them with, you hear, is not to pay that property tax. You hear how much excuse they're coming with now? Oh, they're giving you time. When the time expires, they come, they're telling you they're giving you more time. And as if I hear today, they say they ain't gonna take no penalties. What is really going on with them? If all you say something, leave it
Hustlers,
so.
the
So much
hustling,
a chances all they're giving the
the hustling,
citizens
the
now.
hustling coming from
They're
the same source.
hustling.
All that money
According to
coming from
Andy,
the
they're
same source.
piping.
Yeah.
The piping is not to pay no property tax. I go on.
Yes. Very good, man. Very good. So there we have it, people. But I was making the point that here we have a situation where apart from the fact that the government having made those rash and inimical to the interests of Trinidad and Tobago and the people of Trinidad and Tobago, those decisions are now fighting to bring it back. And as Donald Trump say, you're not qualified. You're not qualified. But let me get back, of course, to the foreign exchange matter and some of the what I consider to be desultory, inept, capricious, knee-jerk type of decisions that this government is making, because they are a government by VAPs. They do things by VAPs, not carefully thinking out the outcome. And so that is why the oil refinery state is in, and of course the lack of foreign exchange is in the state that it is in Trinidad and Tobago today. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
I see you start off with a ham and in a pan cooking, and so we teeth it. What that is in both and this BNM government do to all the forex. They teeth it up from under the people nose, right? And all this scrambling. You go see how this country gonna make out when they see coming to Christmas, when these people can't get enough money to buy or to furnish whatever debts they had to pay in US dollars. I sorry for all of them, but it's good for them. You understand? It's good for all who are to suffer now, because I would have wanted a visa time PNM government. And like this fella say, wait, Mark, $175 million them take out of this economy here from the bank, and that gone up in smoke, in nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And this company, what they name, can pay back the money.
Yeah. A total of 450 million US, you know, boy.
Yeah, but 175 from taxpayers. That
taxpayers,
bank, Republic Bank.
Yeah.
That is taxpayers' own bank, you know.
Yeah.
And you lose $1.2 billion, and nobody ain't talking about that. But he up and down the place talking as such a stupidness about what UNC this and UNC that. And this thing just happened this last year, the Nikon shut down clean.
Yeah.
Receivership time. Whatever their name, say they in default.
Yeah.
They bankrupt. And a senator is in the government now. She's part of shareholder. She should go law.
She was a PS and she is one of the directors at Republic Bank as well. So you understand the incestuous relationship and what caused that nepotism and cronyism at its worst. At its worst, the destruction of your life.
Money. All them are facilitate taxpayers losing $175 million. Listen, people in this country do stupid, you know. You understand? Them sit down and fighting over crumbs. And look at what bread going through their nose here.
Yeah.
All these things have repercussions, and they're seeing it now. You see how the port shut down now? It's more thunder for this PNM. I ain't vexed. Let them take the pressure. It's them causing all the unrest in the country now. Everything that happens is because of them. You understand? Look at what we had to go through. And I don't tell them PNM supporters, if all they can buy a sweetie online again for the year. Nothing. Because it must freeze everything. The banks and them doing it because Valmiki Arjun come a few days ago and he saying the bank was holding money between 2021 to 2024. Over $700 million, he say, that they hold and they take it and invest it outside. When that money is supposed to come into the system so that the people would have been able to get the money. But this government don't want nobody to get nothing. They want people to suffer. That's why they raise all kind of tax on import duties. If you want to go and buy anything online, you have to pay extra money for it. You understand? They just stifle the people. But I want them to know that election have consequences, and if all they want to go back and vote for this PNM, but you see examples like Venezuela, Haiti, and Cuba and other countries, all they're watching what they're going to become in the next few years if they go vote for them. Because they're already calculating a price list on things where you can bring in and don't bring in again, Lennox.
Oh, yeah.
They go back into the NAR days when they are telling people, just now you're going to eat Pom City and Pomarak for Christmas and forget about apple and grapes because they will put up a negative list. They're already making the list. It's just a matter of time because the government goes to lay another forex. And why? It's because they shut down the goods that lay in the gold and the petrol train. And ever since they do that, it's hardship for all of we. We aunt, uncle, and Nen take care of Lennox. Have a good night.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I mean, a beautiful analysis. It's only left to me now to explain what that video is all about. Well, apart from, of course, attempting to spread the responsibility now for the ineptitude and the arsness that in terms of decisions that they would have made, they're talking about, of course, calling in the stakeholders, the business community, and of course, the business organizations to, of course, have a discussion. Have a discussion. That time has passed. If I was them, of course, out of what I consider to be not respected, but out of concern, that might be the more appropriate word, I will attend such a meeting. But if it has started, I would prefer not to go at all. Not for you to go, because if it has started on a lie, the lie is that he is saying that the majority of the forex from the Exim Bank went into small micro businesses, and that is a blatant lie, because micro businesses cannot function because they depended on their credit card, and the credit card amount was cut in half, and they tell them if they go abroad to shop that may be a further reduction in the use of the credit card for the purposes of purchasing items with forex. Understand that? So it is stereotypical of this government that they tell you a lie, you know it's a lie, and then they come and insult you by saying something totally different, just as how they told us that during the budget presentation, the economy doing fine. We have a 1.1 or I think 1-point-something% growth in the economy. And when, of course, an affidavit was required to justify the implementation of the Revenue Authority, challenged by the PSA, the Public Service Association, on behalf of public servants, the same member to send an affidavit to the court saying that, listen, if we don't get that facility up and running, we will have a torrid time between now and 2027, and that's how the 2027 talk will come up. And of course, Rowley reinforced that by talking about the potential for gas, etc., etc. Understand that. That is the level of deception. That is the level of criminal behavior in public office that these people are engaged in, inimical and, of course, detrimental to Trinidad and Tobago in terms of sustainability and in terms of long-term viability of the country. And therefore, we must understand the devil, the toxicity of Rowley and Imbertande. let me take you, of course, now to that particular video, so you'll have a better appreciation now. Listen to what he's saying about
in place for the past
Forex.
25 years, which determines how Forex is distributed.
Where
Finance Minister Colm Imbert said there's been an honor system in place for the past 25 years, which determines how Forex is distributed.
Where it is expected that the banks would exercise responsibility, exercise equity, justice, and all that sort of thing in the distribution.
In the past few weeks, the business community has issued various statements on the issue of access to foreign exchange, and now Minister Imbert said he will be meeting with them to discuss the way forward.
So we are going to talk to the Chambers of Commerce, the TTMA, and various other interest groups, and ask them whether they believe this honor system that has been in force for the last 25 years should change into a more regulated and a more structured thing, whereby the central bank would now have categories of distribution for foreign exchange, and I expect I'll be able to complete.
I want to pause here because I want you to see how deliberate and conscious these people engaged in their theatrics and histrionics. They're acting. You see how arrogant he was in presenting the budget in the parliament, flipping and talking a set of, using a set of quips, and of course, fatigue, if you want to call it that in local parlance, but of course, it's taunting the population, taunting the other members on the other side in the house. But today, look, he holier than thou. We saw that with Rowley, when of course, he was exposed with some transfer of money from one of AV's subsidiary to a bank account in the United States. And how, of course, he was saying that there was a blatant lie, and he sat down there with his lawyer and looking as though he holier than thou. We saw the same attitude, the same demeanor, the same body language exhibited by, of course, Al-Rari when he was in the dark days of the exposure of that particular horrendous and evil and diabolical event with respect to Vincent Nelson and the setting up of Anand Ramlogan and Ramdeen to do what? To have them pay criminally, and in fact having been charged until, of course, the DPP withdraw the matter. And you saw Al-Rari holier than thou. He can't mash hands. Do not be fooled. That is wolf in sheep clothing talk and conduct. Understand that. And of course, the latest version is that, and you will get more of it. They will be looking for sympathy. We must have no sympathy. We must be ruthless, brutal as they have been, and relentless in terms of making certain not only that we hate them as much as we can, but also when the time comes and they have to face blue lights and silver bracelets, that is to say, to come before the criminal justice system and to come before the civil justice system, that we must show no mercy. That showed any us. Understand that. The money didn't belong to them. They knew that. They ought to have known that. And yet still they got on as though they know everything. They were contemptuous. They were evil. They were diabolical. They were belligerent. And they were deceptive. And they were arrogant to the hilt. And it turned out to be, of course, it turned out to be people, a set of men and women that have a serious inferiority complex, and they try to project that as if they know what they're doing or were doing, only to create disaster, mayhem, and decadence, and family disintegration, and economic disaster for Trinidad and Tobago. Watch how we talking now. And you will see that with Rowley, you will see that with this fella, Hines, you will see it, of course, with Small Pin Young, you will see it with Imsbert as we are witnessing at this point in time. Watch him carefully, watch his body language.
Those discussions maybe by the end of this year.
He said there are different ways about addressing the current issue at hand.
We can go to the other extreme, which we have not done yet, where we can particularize, for example, that a percentage of this $100 million US that is put in every 2-3 weeks should go to small and medium enterprises, should go to education, should go to medical expenses, should go to travel.
As for access to Forex for small and medium enterprises, the minister argued that it has been working well.
And it has helped many small, in fact, 80% of the foreign exchange customers at the Exim Bank are small and medium enterprises, not the large ones at all. In fact, the Exim Bank goes out of its way to help these small enterprises.
He noted, though, that there is a process by the way banks receive an allocation of Forex when injected into the system from the central bank.
The central bank then, from time to time, every 3 weeks or so, sometimes every 2 weeks, would make an intervention and release foreign exchange to the commercial banks based on a formula that goes back 10 years. And it's based on the size of the bank, the number of branches that they have, the number of customers that they have, and so on.
The minister also reiterated his move to ensure taxes paid by petrochemical companies are done so in US dollars.
They earn their income in US dollars, so it only stands to reason that they should pay their taxes in US dollars. And this has not been happening. And it's been a very well-kept secret, and therefore I will be talking to them over the next couple of months.
Sonolala, TTT News.
Yes, people. So they come up with these, well, this, I remember calling it phantasma. I say phantasmagorical stories. So the intention here is to spread the responsibility. They are saying that it's not me. This is what we have, this is the pot. They created that minuscule pot. They created that emaciated pot. They bad spend our money. But they want now suddenly, they don't know what to do again. But when it was, of course, not so acute, they tell them stay away. Only by talking the government, we know what we are doing. That is what they were saying. And I say all of this to say no. I don't get me vexed before I look for it and play it, you know. Guess what? When the PNM under Rowley got into office and this midget called Imsbert became the minister, I want to be able to freely say what to say without interruption, so I will go to the lines first because you are more important than me in that regard. A pleasant good night, welcome.
But when it was, of course, not so acute,
Good night, welcome. Good night, welcome. All right, look as though we lost that one. Yes. When they got into office, remember that there was this blind fella that they brought from New York. I'll come back to you. We gave away, of course, to the callers. A pleasant good night, welcome.
Lennox,
Hey.
Amber now saying that the oil and gas companies, right, when they pay them, they're paying them in Trinidad money. Who they selling the US dollars to? That is why I want to know. Who they selling it to get Trinidad dollars to give them it? And if he's so stupid, why did he did 9 years, going in 10 years, he couldn't take all the money in US dollars and force them to pay him in US dollars? See that, you know, it would be better or more prudent for them to collect US dollars. But you have no vision for that. Eh? That's the leprechaun in the finance ministry. You have no foresight. Now the country in a squeeze, he run into the same conglomerates and telling them to he want them to pay all the Trinidad royalties in US dollars. So you didn't see that 8-9 years ago? It's only now you seen that. This man running this economy upside down and tell all of that. Anytime you run a forensic audit inside of that ministry, all you will see the big deep hole that man dig inside it like a volcano, just waiting to explode in people's face. The man is a mismatch and a misfit. You understand? He's a misfit in that ministry. But he guarding these secrets well, and it's only when the election called and they lost, all they go see the true extent of the damage this man do to this place.
That's right. A hole, that canyon that he put in there, one of the longest or deepest hole that one could think of. I think that it would have been that canyon scenery in the United States. But that being as it may, you are quite right, my friend. And were they buying TT dollars from another country that may have hoarded TT dollars and then, of course, pay Trinidad and Tobago in TT dollars? That's a very good point. And of course, I see that initiative and that proposal to, of course, talk to them, because it's a proposal to talk to them about paying in US dollars. How the hell you could tell us that they pay in TT dollars when in fact you say that taxes from the oil, gas, and petrochemical sector are paid to us, and that is the source of our US dollars. In fact, it is well established by them as well that 80% of our foreign exchange comes from the oil and gas sector. How could you justify, how could you rationalize that we are being paid in TT money, but at the same time acquiring, of course, US money from that same source? All the tale, all the God mad, who the gods wish to destroy, the first of them mad. Let me repeat, 80% of our foreign exchange comes from the oil, gas, and petrochemicals sectors. And here it is, Input is telling us that the foreign companies, mainly them, because they operate our oil, gas, and petrochemical industries, that they pay in TT money. So what? They buy TT money from some other country with their US and then pay us in TT. He has to tell us, how is that possible? Well, it would have been easy to just pay in US money, since, of course, all what you could produce, or all what you have produced, or all your sales are designated, are denominated in US dollars. He has to explain that. That sounds like an ass talking about that which he or she doesn't know about. How you become a Minister of Finance and you could tell us that hogwash without an explanation and with a straight face, because you have failed and you have collapsed in the foreign exchange system in this country and the acquisition thereof. And don't be surprised, all of that is to do what? Is to broaden the responsibility and to reflect. And then, of course, they go straight into the Heritage and Civilization Fund. And then, of course, they try to buttress the foreign exchange that is lacking in mass in this country. That's not waste time. That's not waste time. But the point I was making, people, is that when they came into government, the UNC had set up what the UNC called an equitable distribution of the forex from gathered by the central bank to all of the entities, the commercial entities, small, big, medium, etc., that were the agents of or engaged in the sale of foreign exchange. Yeah. And Rowley and they were saying, before they came into government, that was not the best way to distribute the resources. I talk about the foreign exchange resources of the country. And when they got back into office, they have this elitist, biggest, best scenario, and they stop all the small banks and all of the other entities that are financial entities that would, of course, normally sell and exchange foreign dollars, and focus on the 4 big banks: Republic Bank, First Citizens Bank, Scotia Bank, and Royal Bank. That's what they did. That's what they did. While the UNC had the foreign exchange that was earned by the country and managed by the central bank, it was being given, of course, to the then, of course, it's not there now, but you could get foreign exchange from other small entities, and some Makal would have been a new kid on the block, and a banker that is no longer, of course, operating, but was bought by Ansa Makal. And I, of course, was a member, or is a member of that bank, so I can tell you, but of course it was a bank that was operating a small bank coming out of India. Coming out of India. I'm going to give it to you in a while. Let's go to the slide.
Lennox,
Yes.
the finance minister let the cat out of the bag with who get any money. He was talking about car companies, various car companies in this country. They is the one that purchasing the US money to bring the high-end vehicles in this country. You ever think about how them just get the vehicles, Lennox? You ever see the fleet of vehicles that be all over the place, pack up? How they getting all that money? They have a direct link with these foreign oil and gas companies buying the US from them, and they facilitating the Trinidad dollars. And I believe Imbert know about this thing for years, but he never put a stop to it. Now the squeeze coming out, so he putting them out in the sun to get the heat.
Yeah,
but he should have stopped all of that long time.
The responsibility. He's sharing the blame. Not he. It's not he. It's everybody. That's what he's trying to do. None of it
right, but you see all of them in league with one another. They're hiding one another's secret. You think he want to go and expose these car companies? No, but the heat is on it now. But they have no right to be bringing in important one set of vehicles in this country with foreign exchange that's needed for other things, goods and services that more, for the public sector for consumption of the public. You can eat and drink a car. A car can give medical help when you need it. And you see that they have
is the friends and family and finances, so it's all right.
That is what's going on, and he playing innocent now. But people that see through this thing, it only needs PNM supporters to go and take them jamming and just go and put the X, That remind me of a lady I see today, or when there was interviewing a woman in America for the vote. Yeah, but actually, why is she going and vote? She say, I go and vote for Kamala. Why? Because she look like me. I say, well, she ought to be a PNM supporter, boy. She look like she migrate and gone there. Right? She voting for somebody because look like she.
That's absolutely imagine the great America talking that nonsense. This is about survival. This is about ability. This is about those who can do the best job in the interest of all, as far as the resources of the country can take us with good management. But go ahead, my friend.
No, Lennox, when you're leaving the exit poll in America, there are various topics you could take off on, right?
Yeah.
And over 72% of those people, they say they're disgruntled and they're vexed with the running of the economy in America. 72%, and if there is not an indictment against the present president over there and the vice president, well, I can't say nothing again.
Well, I expect that a victory for Trump.
Well, so far he lead them by 105 to 27 in seats so far.
Okay,
so they say in the big seats like in California and America, US, because New York and these places in Pennsylvania, there's these swing seats. But that map of America making me feel like it's Trinidad I'm watching. Because it's red all over the place. Red all over the place. And I feel blue. And then you lost, you know.
case in the outcome.
Have a good night.
Yes, that's my friend. But people, of course, we have come to the end. Once again, let me say, I said all of that to say that here it is that this government, when it was in opposition, castigated the opposition, well, I should say the government in place, Kamala Prasad Bitesa, for broadening the delivery of foreign exchange to small, medium, and large private banking, or should I say financial institution, for the sale of our foreign exchange. It is the central bank it is sourced from, and they sell it, of course, to these banks. When Rowley and them came in, they say no, they're going back to how it was because they have a elitist agenda, the biggest, best. So they stopped those small entities from acquiring or distribution to them any foreign exchange. So they can't sell to their customers. So we are tying and boxing to these 4 major banks. Today, look what has happened. Look what has happened. Look what has happened, a total failure, a total collapse, a total faux pas once again. And now, they're asking these institutions now, all these stakeholders, to say how we should distribute it. And should it be more equitably distributed, and for what it should be, what should be priority and so on. You have to be a backside not to know what priority, but what you did, you believe it would have been there forever. You believe that because you have acquired office in the way that you did, your reckless behavior, your brutal behavior, your desultory behavior, your whimsical behavior, your capricious behavior, your mismanagement, and your total dunderheadedness has caused us to be in the position today. And mind you, if they still had money in bulk as before, they pretend that this was not happening and could not happen, you know. It's only because it is happening, and they know that their political stocks, and they know that their what is left of any integrity that they have, or management prowess, they are now, of course, trying to spread the responsibility across the board, and of course, incorporating into the discussion now at this 12th hour, those who should have been there from the beginning, so that there could be a built-in, of course, mechanism of checks and balances. But no, they didn't want that. They wanted to have total and absolute control. Well, I say to them, only alone making the jail. Only alone in Bert making the jail. Rowley only alone making the jail. It's only took the decision, and only cannot fix it because it has failed miserably. So people, of course, I thought it was important, of course, to conclude here, and of course tomorrow I promise today I will have, of course, brought a compendious version of the presentation of Wade Mark and, of course, Dave Tanku, but we will do that tomorrow as we condense it so that you can have a better appreciation as to where our foreign exchange would have gone as presented by them. But of course, with Im's presentation and attempts to try to spread responsibility and looking for sympathy, we must have none for them. None for them. I see he as a them, yes, plural, because he represents all of them. And their ineptitude and their inability to manage the affairs of the country, they should have said so, and they should have limited office long ago. But no, they want to extract every single illegal, illicit dollar that they can from the treasury before they leave. We are going to be long suffering. We'll have patience. But when the avalanche descends on them, I know that Laverton and Beaton and so will turn their backs on them because they'll be saying that they want to call people from Laverton to come down because they are being persecuted. No, they are being prosecuted justifiably. Justifiably, people. So, of course, we have come to the end. Don't forget, of course, that tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Michael, and myself on the ground report. Of course, don't forget that we have centralized operations. So we have, of course, what is called a command center where Andy is in charge, and of course, but all of the programs, corridor transformation is being from there. So that way it leaves me to only interact with the command center rather than having to carry the program on my system here. The only thing I will be carrying, of course, is the relationship, the engaging the software that would, of course, contact me or put me in contact with Andy, and Mikey would do the same thing, and so we have a more efficacious. Of course, it still needs some tweaking, but in the fullness of time, of course, we will eventually get there. Don't forget, of course, we are planning to go to EBC. I know that this program could not have been completed without my making an intervention there. I got a new printer only yesterday. I want to say, I can tell you how much I paid for it. I paid $1,399 for it. New one that, of course, has, I don't have to rely on cartridges, but of course there's a refilling system, so I can buy as much ink as I want and put in, of course. It is not a heavily expensive one, but it's expensive for me because, of course, but I had to do it in order to treat with a number of things, including, of course, our Christmas program and all of that, where we need to print items. But I have that now, and of course, some of the legal issues that people will come to me increasingly from time to time. So that is there as well. Tomorrow, of course, we will look at some social issues. We do some advertisement and all of that in order to try to recoup and to bring in some resources so that we can pay for the internet. Notice we have internet sources from two suppliers. And that, of course, is a cost by itself. One is, I think there's a total of about nearly $800 monthly we pay for both systems. And we want, of course, to get another system to add to what we have in office, so we wouldn't have the visual delays, slide delays, of course, but I know the voice sounding powerful. I know that the audio is good, but of course, the video aspect of it, where of course there's a slight delay, we are looking at that as well in order to have real-time coordination, so to speak. So all of those are matters that we will be looking at. So I want to say once again a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, Friends in Tobago, as well as, of course, all over the world as we continue, of course, with these series. And let me, of course, end with our Christmas gig, so to speak. And all the best. Bye-bye.
Tanti Gladys and I SOS to all she family because of an incident that happened to she. Early Christmas morning, apparent she gets, and as long as she lives, she will not forget. Me pressure cooker, they gone with that. Me brand new freighter, they gone with that. A bottle of Johnny Walker, they gone with that. A bale of toilet paper, they gone with that. I love Para, I love me Para, but I don't ever want to see that Para back. I love Para, I love me Para, but I don't want to see that teeth in Para back.
could keep the callaloo. I want a bit of pork for me Christmas. I want a bit of pork. I want a bit of pork. I want a bit of pork for me Christmas. I don't want no money cook. You could keep the callaloo. I want a bit of pork for me Christmas. If you don't have it, it's you.
It was early Christmas morning, I was lying in my bed. When I hear her calling, it was neighbor Mildred. She come over early, say time to have the fed. Please don't say I'm greedy, but I ain't eat food yet. My husband gone by his mother and left me in a jam. Look my belly in my hand, neighbor give me piece of ham. Neighbor, oh yo yo, bring out the ham. Neighbor, ay 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 ay, bring out the ham. Neighbor, oi oi oi, bring out the ham. Neighbor, ay 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 ay, bring out the ham. All I want to do is eat. Bring out the ham. I don't want no other meat. Bring out the ham. When I taste good so Rufus, bring out the ham. Is then I just feel it's Christmas. Bring out the ham. Neighbor, oi oi oi, bring out the ham. Neighbor, ay 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 ay, bring out the ham. Neighbor, oi oi oi, bring out the ham. Neighbor, ay 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 ay, bring out the ham. Christmas time is trouble if you try.
There is a process by the bank for it.
Central bank then time to time make an intervention and release higher and it's based on the size of the bank, or branch that they have, or customer that they have.
The minister also reiterated Finance Minister Tom Imbert said there's been a system in place for the past 25 years which determines how correct is interpreted.
Where it is expected of the bank to exercise responsibility, exercise
In the past few weeks, the business community has discussed various issues on the issue of access to foreign exchange. He said he will be meeting with them to discuss the way forward.
So we are going to talk to Chambers of Commerce and various other